if somebody does the things to my daughters that I've done to the woman, I would go crazy. I was terrible. I was terrible.
How many times did I throw them around or push them where they could have fell and broke their neck or their back or could have, you know, crushed Linda's chest when I stood on her that time, put the pressure on her chest.
You know, I'm violent. What do you want? You know, what do you want me to do about it? I've always been violent.
That I slapped her, that I pulled her earring out of her ear, that I threatened to burn the house down.
I don't know how to stop sometimes. I don't know how to be Mr. Nice Guy.
Domestic violence is something that could happen to any one of us. You know, just be aware of what the warning signs are.
We both make a beautiful couple. I love her more than anything.
I scared her to death, I know that. I know that she was afraid, I know that.
I can be a very intimidating person when I want to be. Very intimidating.
You could scar someone inside so bad and not even realize you're doing it.
A number of them will report one loss after another. A number of them will report people leaving them. You know, a lot of abandonment issues, a lot of loss issues, a lot of pain.
It's just so natural to me to be violent that I don't even realize I am violent. I would rather settle anything violently than settle it, talk about it, because I feel I just don't have time for it. It's just, I don't know, it's just so hard to describe. My friends are violent, my group of people I hang with are violent. It's just so natural to me. I mean, it's just like breathing.
This is the Dedham House of Correction. It's the jail for Norfolk County, just outside Boston, Massachusetts. We spent 9 weeks here to see how its domestic violence program works. The woman you saw earlier is Andrea Cooper. She is a clinical social worker who serves as the sheriff's domestic violence coordinator. And this jail is her office. The men you've seen were inmates at the jail. They were in Andrea's initial therapy program. Their goal is to stop the action, stop their violence. You are going to see and hear these male batterers tell their story in their own words. They serve time for different offenses, but one thing they have in common is domestic violence. Another is the pain they feel from their childhoods.
My mother has been a lonely woman her whole life, basically, because my father was pretty abusive. He snapped her neck, and it was a lot, you know.
Not all abused children grow up to be abusers, but of the people who are abusers, a great many of them were abused as children. It's sad. It sets the stage for learned behavior that takes a very long time to unlearn. Choices have to be made that, no, this is not what I'm going to do. It's very hard if there are no options given to you. If that's the way you've learned to respond to your anger, by striking out, by being violent, then there were very few choices left.
Andrea Cooper said something to us one day. She said, when you went to hit your wife, did you punch her or smack her? And we said, we smacked her. And she said, well, if you went to hit another man, what would you do? We said, we would punch him. She said, well, until you made a choice then. So, and that stuck with me, you know, because I always thought I did it without reacting, but I really did think about it first because I smacked her instead of punching her.
I struck my ex-woman, or my ex-girl. I grabbed my mom and I shook her by her shoulders. There was abuse with me and Diane. There was a lot of abuse. There was a lot of drugs. That's when we first started doing the coke. Before we had the kids, and Diane ended up seeing her dealer. So I ended up slapping the heck out of her for that.
I had another restraining order taken out on this, on Jan. I still have a restraining order right now on Janet. And Janet, I flipped over the coffee table. This is my last girlfriend right here. I flipped over the coffee table, and I just started hollering at her. And the police came to the scene. Afterwards, I already left, and the police took out an emergency restraining order for her. So I still have that one. But none of them are for physically actually hitting a woman.
So a lot of them don't have the experiences that would nurture a child in a happy way. There's a lot of tragedy in their lives. It doesn't excuse the violence that they do, but it sets the stage for a very violent, very unsafe life. That this world is not a safe place for them to begin with. And that's played out over and over.
And I kicked a cup of coffee out of her hand and went up and came down all over her. Boom, 60 days. Got out from the 60 days. She wouldn't speak to me, wouldn't accept my phone calls, nothing. Got out. The first day I was out, she calls me and says, when are you going to come see the kids? Boom, right down there again. Violated another restraining order.
My girlfriend came down the steps and she said I had a 9mm, and she called up and took a restraining order out from me. I never physically touched her. I didn't even threaten her with a gun, but she took out a restraining order.
She had reported that I pinched her lips, that I slapped her, that I pulled her earring out of her ear, that I threatened to burn the house down, that I threatened to slash all the tires on the car, that I pulled the telephone out the wall. None of those things do I remember. I definitely know I blacked out. I remember grabbing her wrist and twisting it. And I remember us falling on the bed, and I remember waking up the next morning. I explained to the nurse there, and I was intoxicated, that I was her husband, and she's my wife, and this is the way we're going to do it. Again, that control thing. And I was loud and ignorant and probably obnoxious. I was watching Desiree and the woman, and Desiree pointed to me. And when she pointed at me, I can remember my thoughts were, oh God, she's telling them I beat her up. She's telling them that I did that to her. And I was scared. And I left the hospital. The police officers were behind me. And he called me by name because I knew him and he knew me. And he said, Lassiter, I'm going to have to arrest you for assault and battery, domestic violence. And I cried and I screamed and I yelled. And he put the handcuffs on. I didn't fight or anything like that. I got in the back of the police cruiser.
We believe that you can change if you put that effort forward. We believe that you can make the difference in your life, and we believe that you can learn how to believe that in yourself. And so without any further ado, I just want to let you know that this is a confidential program.
The two most important rules in the group are confidentiality and honesty. It's already been talked about that if you break confidentiality of the group, that is a sanctionable behavior. And honesty, if we're not going to be honest with each other here, then, we're kind of wasting our time.
The main focus of this program is your behavior towards your partner and the actions that brought you here. We're going to stop the abuse that's going on in our homes, in our streets, in our community, and we're going to start with domestic violence and be very vigilant and give the message that we're not going to allow this behavior.
There's a lot worse ways than hitting a woman. It's the emotional abuse, That could be worse than punching her once in the face and breaking her jaw. You could be putting her through hell for 6 years.
I never even realized that I was doing domestic violence. I thought I was right to smack a woman if she was wrong. We've been taught that for years. Men have always beat their women. So a lot of us didn't even think it was wrong.
Everywhere is violent. You taught violence from a child. Mm-hmm. Football, basketball, anything you do is a violent act.
You did it. You came here on your own. On your own actions. And that's the kind of thing that you need to take responsibility for in order to change this whole mechanism, this whole cycle that brings you back in through those doors.
It's a choice. We choose at different points and times to use violence in different ways.
Just the fact itself that I would be so violent as to harm someone that I love so much, And to do just like you said, to go to bed one night, look at her, and smile in her face, and kiss her goodnight, and tell her how much I love her, and then the next day I'm smacking her, you know.
And then start writing down an age and an incident that occurred that had an impact in your life to the halfway point, and then complete it to today. And you don't have to, really write a lot. Just write a little bit about the incident. What we're going to do with this exercise is, after you have completed this, we're going to tell you what tune you've been playing in your life. We're going to tell you the theme of your life. And I'm going to help you try to change the music.
I don't really remember much. I just know that I have flashbacks like of abuse and stuff. But I remember being a foster kid, went to school and started taking out my frustrations on everybody else. Getting involved with drugs. I got expelled for beating up the principal. And I tried to stab another teacher. When I was 17 years old, I got in a situation and I got in a shootout with the state police and I ended up with a bit in prison. And I got out. Nothing changed. I didn't care. Still hurt really bad inside. Myself involved in relations. I shouldn't have. And I just started hitting her and treating her like I was treated when I was a kid. And I came back to jail and got out again and just did the same thing. And here I am now, 19 months later.
What I'm hearing is a lot of rage, a lot of abuse from very early on, inability or the choice not to remember a lot of things that are very painful in your life. The primary caretakers weren't there to take care of you and to protect you. Taking that inner rage and turning it on people all around you. Keep away from people, not get too involved in people. Involvement with prison, very young. How old are you today?
22.
22. How many years in prison?
Almost 5.
5. So, a quarter of your life in prison. A lot of unanswered questions. Who's going to be there for me? Do I matter? Looking for relationships, looking for someone to be there for you, and then again, responding to them the same way that you were treated. You need to learn some new behaviors. But you came here on your own. Nobody made you take this program. You volunteered for it. So I think you're looking for the answers. And I think that this might be the place that you're going to get some answers.
And always try to, think of a second way out instead of reverting back to what is more comfortable, which is what you know, which is to sort of hurt and be hurt, But you're going to have to work on turning around of what you learned over the first 22 years. That it is possible to have relationships that aren't painful, but that's alien territory to you right now.
I stuck it out and graduated, got in the pile drivers union. And the drugs, the alcohol all followed with the growing up, and I started taking a lot of that hurt and everything on to Diane, my ex. And I remember holding her hostage in my bedroom. I wanted her to be my mother, my father, and everything else. I was just messed up. I knew inside that there's nothing wrong. I tell myself, hey, I'm the smartest guy around, which I think I am. But I just can't control my temper sometimes, and I just fly off the handle. So after abusing her for a few years and the drugs and everything else, she'd run and do her thing and get back together, and then the things that had happened I'd bring up, and it was just a big explosion again. And then the second baby was born. Still got a great job, and it all just went down the tubes with the drugs, the violence, and the abuse. And then jail. I ended up beating up, my mother ended up getting involved with this guy, and I ended up breaking his nose, his arm, and his collarbone, because I warned him twice not to abuse my mother.
I had a happy childhood until I was about 13. When my mother and father broke up, I remember my father hit my mother, and I pushed him down the stairs and broke his leg. I went to service. I had 3 wives, 9 kids. I have 3 kids in California, 6 here. Yeah, 6 here. 8 daughters. You know, now I just want peace of mind, and I want to be there for my daughters, you know. I just want to, I want to be there. I've always given my daughters a lot of love, and one of them told me last week that they want me to get my own house so they can just all come to me. They don't want me with no other woman. You know, 'cause I changed women a lot, you know. I think I was very abusive to women. I don't know why. I just used them.
I love my father very much. And I remember saying to my brother after my father died at Jewish Memorial Hospital that I never want to be like my father. I didn't want to be drunk. I didn't want to be separated from whoever I was going to marry. And I didn't want to have kids where I wasn't going to be there for. I remember the first time I went to jail, and the only other time I've been in jail was in 1991 after I got married. And I felt like I was just like, I felt like a drunk. Felt like I did my kids wrong. I felt like I did my wife wrong too. And I look at it today, and I still see a lot of similarities, you know, between the father and the son.
Today, we need to say goodbye. And we need to say goodbye to this group as it is. This combination of people are never going to be a group again. Because for those of you who are going on to long-term, there'll be new people in that group. Some of the afternoon folks will be joining us. Some of the men who have been in the long-term group for some months now will be joining us. And so this combination will never be again. And saying goodbye is never easy. And for some of you, the goodbyes have been very difficult, very painful. The police have been involved with a number of you. There's been a lot of chaos, a lot of pain. Never any time to say goodbye and clean up all your matters and shake hands. It's generally you're taken out of the house by a police officer, driven to jail. There's no closure in the relationships. There's a lot of pain involved with these relationships. Children are involved. But here, we're saying goodbye, and we want you to know that there is a good and goodbye. And what we want to do here today, as we've done in all of the groups, is to give you the opportunity to tell each of the men in this group, and for Dan and myself as well, to each of us, and us to you, to tell each other what being in this group has meant to you.
I think this group is good. I think you need to have something like this, especially in a place like this, because each Monday, Tuesdays and Wednesdays, it's like, if I didn't have them, I think I probably would have snapped up people. It's like, I go back to the unit after being here, and I feel tension relieved just from, maybe just from talking like this.
I like you, Louis, you know.
Yeah.
I haven't known Louis long. I haven't known you long, Louis. But since I've known you, I've learned to respect you. I learned to respect your opinion about things because you put your opinion right out there. You let it know how you felt, you know. But you're really not. To me, as tough as you were portrayed to be, he's really got a soft side of him, you know. He's really warm, you know. And I like that about you, Louis, you know.
Sandra Cooper. God sends his angels in strange ways. Sometimes we don't see them, and sometimes we do. I see an angel in you. I see an angel in you. You've allowed me to use your shoulder to cry on. You let me know that I can stand up and smile and love myself. This gave me a chance to stop my violence, to stop abusing somebody that I care about, and maybe from stop abusing someone else in the future. That's what all this group has done for me.
Last, I don't know what to say. I'll tell you, the only thing I can about say is I respect you as a man, and that says a lot for me. Okay, you stand by what you believe in, even though I don't agree with it about 89% of the time. But I do respect you because you stand by what you definitely believe in. And you probably write a lot more than that, but I'm still a stubborn person. I know you're a good man. Try to be good constantly. That's probably one of the reasons why I don't like you. Because I have a hard time with that personally myself. Other than that, I just really don't know what to tell you. It was a pleasure meeting you. You're a very interesting man to me. And she is the woman of the day. I don't know what to say. You've helped me more than you've known. I mean, I'm not a very open person sometimes. You've helped me more than I've known. I didn't want to do this course. I didn't like it in the beginning. You just made it very comfortable for me to do. And for that, I will always be grateful for it, too.
Domestic violence is much more prevalent than we even see here. We only see the people who are sentenced. And so there are a number of people out there who have been intervened by the police, who are going to programs in the street, who are seeking, who never were arrested and who never come to the attention of the law, but they're seeking their own counseling. So we never see those people. There's a tremendous number out there who have not been arrested. I don't think we'd have room for everybody in this facility, but it happens right across the board. Right across the board, educationally and socioeconomically.
I'm lucky I work for a family business. I mean, I'm not poor. My family's not poor. My grandfather bought 2 summer homes. We have one down the Cape and one in Nantucket. My grandfather just keeps just for all the family members that can just use it whenever they want. 4 vacations a year. As many women as I want. I just go through life very easy. Life is very easy for me.
Batterers on every level. You know, it's not just in the ghettos, it's not middle class, it's not upper class. There's batterers on every level. It's just there, you know, it's just been hidden. I think it's more in the upper class hidden than anywhere else because the women in the upper class depend so much on their man. You know what I'm saying? They depend on him so much more that they don't want to lose that security. So they're more willing, they're not willing to come out, you know. But the poor woman ain't got nothing to lose anyway. You know? She's like, get the hell out of here.
It's just plain crazy to think that I could go on in life treating people like that and think that I was all right. How tough it was or must have been for her to wake up in the morning with me when I'd be drunk at night yelling and screaming at her and in bed and have to sleep with me and then wake up in the morning and, as Andrea used to say, this is the guy that I love, you know. I wouldn't have been able to take it.
When I first was with Diane, I used to think that, you know, do the dishes, change the baby, and make sure the dinner's on the table. Oh, that big caveman style, you know? Wrong. That isn't it. That isn't it at all. It's a two-way street. You gotta be flexible. You gotta be open. You know, what's good for her is good for you, and vice versa. It's if you love someone, you know, it's the way it's supposed to be. It's not all what you need and what you expect.
But I didn't think about equality in a relationship. I thought of power and control. You know, because I thought that that's what the way it was supposed to be.
It would just be whatever I wanted if I wasn't getting my way. I've always got what I wanted, so I've been spoiled. So, I mean, if it was just anything that I did not get my way was a problem. I'm going out. I don't want you to go out. Well, too bad. If you don't like it, there's the door, bye. I mean, and then it would just escalate to there screaming. I just leave, slam the door, and that would be it.
It starts when one person thinks they have the power, they have the right to have power and control over somebody else. So it could be anything from the verbal abuse, the psychological abuse, to the name calling, demeaning, to the physical battering.
You know, I used to sit on where she at. And she's not here yet. And I would get mad, you know, and by the time they got there, I would be exploding. So I guess I was very, controlling power. I had a lot of power and control.
I have to control everything, period. That's just the way I am. And all these relationships, I mean, it was not like, all these relationships, it's like I would not even let a woman buy anything and put it in an apartment or a condo or whatever we were living. If it was my I wouldn't even let anybody buy anything and put anything in it, because then it would be like, then it would be an issue over control of this object. I mean, cars, every one of these women, I bought them cars, so there is not an issue of control over anything. It's very easy to control someone if you just buy everything. And it's under your name. It's very easy to do. It's very easy. So, I mean, in one sense, they never needed anything. In another sense, they were being controlled. And I'd be just like, you don't have to do anything. You don't have to spend any money. I wouldn't let them pay for rent, phone bills, light bills, nothing, because then they'd have control over something.
That you can be abusive with your voice, you know, raising your voice at someone can be an abuse. You know, I learned all that. But yet, you don't put it into everyday life, and that's where I need to.
I didn't know abuse was things like intimidation, you know. I didn't know it was about power and control. I didn't know I was that type of person. I always thought I was just a person who wanted to get along with everybody. But in retrospect, looking back, there was a lot of power and control in my life, you know. I wanted control over my drinking, but I wanted control over my life and everybody in it, because I didn't want to be all alone.
Just try to hold on to them and try to control them. So it's not a healthy, it's not a healthy ingredient in a relationship. And most of them are very, very surprised when they recognize, wow, I did this. And they're not happy about that. And I think that you saw that in the sessions, that there's a lot of shame that goes along with that. When they're trying to, you know, go on with their lives, they realize how many lives they've destroyed in trying to control them.
So I went to Andrea Cooper's classes, and I listened to what some of the other guys were saying. And I kept hearing Andrea's voice. And it sounded like her voice was saying to me, well, I said, nobody's going to hurt you. Just say what you feel. You're safe here. And I wanted so bad to open up and say that I felt miserable inside. That I was ashamed. That I felt guilty. That I felt left out. That I had hurt somebody real close to me, and I didn't know what to do about it.
I started looking at my daughters saying, damn, what are they thinking about me, you know? I don't want them, if somebody hit one of my daughters, I would really go crazy. You know, I would try to kill them. But yet they see me hitting their mother. And I don't want them to think that a man can do the things that I've been doing all my life, you know? I mean, I love them, and I care for them, and I guide them, but the example I set for them as a man was terrible. You know, other women in my life, you know, making other babies, you know, hitting women, just doing what I want, you know. I don't want them to have a man like that, you know, and that's what made me say, hey, you gotta get a hold of yourself, you gotta reevaluate yourself and see what the hell you're doing wrong, you know. My kids are really what made me woke up.
Another thing's been said to me, how would you like it if my daughter was getting slapped around. No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't at all.
My 8-year-old daughter was playing with her dolls. She had a Ken and a Barbie. And she had the Ken started beating the Barbie doll up. She said, don't you do that, don't you do that. And I freaked out. I said, baby, what are you doing? Why are you doing that? Don't do that. You know, let your dolls fight. Your dolls aren't supposed to fight like that. And that really freaked me out. I said, damn, she's just acting out what she saw. And that's when I started saying, man, this is affecting my kids, you know. This is really affecting my kids.
I would tell my daughter there's a lot of good men out there. Don't ever let a man hit her. Don't ever let a man put his hands on you. If he does, you tell me, or tell your mother. That it's good to have a man that you're able to talk with and that can talk to you, someone that you understand.
I have to spend a lot of time with my son because I don't want him to end up like I did. The way I said I wouldn't end up like my father, and I did. The pattern shows that he's going to end up like me, you know, if I can't change his way of thinking now. He noticed that I was violent. One time when he was 6 years old, he came to me, I was laying in the bed, and he said, Dad, I said, what? He said, can we talk? And I said, yeah, we can talk. Come on. And he came and he jumped up on the bed. He said, I don't want you fighting with Mommy no more because you scare her, you know. And I said, well, you need to mind your business, you know? And I shouldn't have did that, you know. He said, well, I just want you to know that I don't think that's the right thing for you to do. And I never paid attention because then I was sick.
And the things that I have done in front of Tyler, he's not going to forget, and, you know, and he's brought up incidents, you know. Why'd Daddy break that window, Mommy? Why do you break your car window in the car? And he's not stupid. None of my kids are stupid. Babies absorb everything like little sponges.
My son Lassiter, he's shy like I was. You know, he holds a lot of things in today. And I think he holds them in because he doesn't know how to talk to Dad about them sometimes. I think he really wants to, you know, but he has that secret room inside of him, like I used to have. I think he is abusive sometimes to his little brother, you know. The yelling and the screaming, raising his voice, things I used to do. And fortunately, I've been able to tell him healthy ways that he can express himself rather than that way. And I don't know for sure because I'm in here, but hopefully he's trying to use some of those things.
But I'm going to make sure that I be a better father for my kids. I'm going to try to stay clean and sober and give them the time that they should be getting. Because, you know, I wasn't there for them a lot. Mostly because I was hungover.
My youngest son, Maurice, and it's my heart. You know, all my children are my heart, but that's my baby. You know, I really worry about him a lot because I think I see more of me in him than I see in the others. Plus, I've seen a lot of abuse happen in his life, you know. And he's not real happy, and I miss him. And I think he's having a real tough time. Because he needs his dad there to talk to him and tell him how to grow up. So he can be a little boy and he doesn't have to be a man so quick like I was. He doesn't have a man there to hug him and tell him that they love him. He doesn't have Dad there to cuddle him at night and make model cars with him, and go to movies with him, and go shopping, stuff he likes to do. And he tells me this all the time. And he's hanging in there. And he's hanging in there.
I couldn't stay away from the drugs. I was putting some time together in the program, and then I went back to using with my girl, my woman. And I was a mess. Ended up slicing both my wrists over a pregnancy.
We were breaking up, and I was just moving out, and she was just scared, basically. I don't know, I was drinking, and she was scared. She was scared. She probably had every right to be too. But, I mean, I would never touch her physically. She was just at that point, thought I was able to probably hurt her.
We know that use of alcohol will raise the level of violence. It doesn't cause the violence, but certainly will raise the level of violence. So it's not the cause, but it's a very strong correlate.
I look at like the drugs as like a scapegoat for all the abuse, but it really isn't, but it is, okay? Because if I'm up all night smoking crack or doing coke and drinking, the next day I'm gonna feel like shit. I'm gonna have a major attitude, okay? But the attitude's still there, even without the booze and the drugs. It's how I deal with it. I see that, I know that.
I had to be in that domestic violence class. All my life I thought just about booze being a problem with me, you know? And yeah, that is a problem with me. But see, violence and power control with me is something altogether separate from that. That for me was about making sure other people accepted me the way I wanted them to accept me. That was about making sure I got my needs met at the expense of others. It was about making sure that people loved me my way. Not how they wanted to do it, the way I wanted them to do it. And it was that way all my life, just about.
I'm a violent person that wants to change.
I have seen miracles, and I see them every week, living and breathing and helping other people and having productive lives. So I know that if you can turn your life around, that there's hope for anybody to turn their life around.
That was the toughest part, was really admitting to myself that I was abusive, to take full responsibility for it. And I mean, don't leave anything out, take full responsibility for it. I believe I know myself well enough to know that if I don't take the help, I'm gonna remain abusive. I'm not gonna know what to do. I'm not gonna know how to stop the violence. I'm not gonna know how to handle the anger. I'm not gonna know what to do when the rage comes.
We try to get to the source of the anger and see what that's all about, where it's coming from.
I need help to stop. I need to learn.
Doing domestic violence treatment programs in the prison and jail setting is an incredible opportunity to help people change behavior before they leave and go back to the street. Without an intervention to this kind of behavior, the cycle will never stop. It's totally voluntary. It's not mandated here. They don't get good time. They're told that right from the beginning. We're not going to give you a good time, which is days off for time spent in certain programs. So they're not getting any perks.
I asked to come to Andrea Cooper's program. I wasn't sent here by anybody. You know, I knew I needed help.
I know there's a problem, but I mean, I'm trying to work on it. I mean, I know there's a problem. I'm not in total denial here. I know there's a problem, but I'm 35 years old and I've been doing this lifestyle for a long time.
You really learn by mistakes if you let yourself learn, I guess. You know, I'm learning hard, you know. I cry at night. I'm sorry for what I did to her, to my mother, to everyone. You know, to myself. You know, I've had so much potential and I'm wasting it. I wasted it. I haven't wasted it. I'm still going to go back out there and do the right thing, but I'm just going to be smarter, a lot smarter. I'm not going to get involved in a relationship until I get my head together.
I decided to let somebody else tell me, this is what you need to do if you want to change those things in your life that destroy you and hurt other people. When I decided that I was going to do those things that they suggested just like they suggested them. Then and only then would I not only come back to jail, but I would stop the cycle that I had been in for so long. And I decided to do that. It meant being different for me. It meant going against everything that I normally would want to do, like lie and cheat and be manipulative and poor me, and it meant I had to be honest, sincere, dependable. Just to me, first of all. I had to love old Lassiter here, and I didn't even know what that was about.
I just have to do it personally for myself, and that's like pulling the shades down and just turning off and starting over again. For me personally, it would be anyway. You know, I just have to change everything. Friends, associations, ways of thinking. I mean, I'd have to change everything.
They trust me with their life stories, and in many cases, that's all they have left. They've lost everything else except who they are, what they're all about. And so I've been very fortunate that they trust me with that gift of their lives.
The class is a pretty good little support group, actually, because there are guys in it that are good guys. You know, every time they see me getting upset, they tell Louis, calm down, that ain't worth it. You know, so that helps.
I can't just, once I get out of here, forget about what I've learned. I just file the papers in the cabinet. You know, I got to constantly address it every day. If I do that, then I'll be a better person, and I'll be a better friend, and whoever I have a relationship with, I'll be a better lover. So, you know, I think the class helped a lot.
I've changed a lot since I started the course personally myself. I've seen it. Just the way I talk to people, the way I don't react as quickly as I would before.
They should have like an AA program like out there where you can go to domestic AA meetings or something, domestic meetings, where you can get a little of it whenever you're feeling like the urge, or you just find yourself acting up. Or you can put yourself in a little spot and you can talk about it and get your feelings out or whatever. They should have them. So I guarantee if they had stuff like that, it would minimize the problems that are going on out there in relationships. I guarantee it would. It would help some of us. It would help me, I know that.
A lot that I got here, I wouldn't have got outside. The programs that I work here, I wouldn't have got this outside. The help that was given me, I wouldn't be able to afford it outside.
Bringing in the drug unit, I mean, it's just so low-keyed and so happy-go-lucky. I mean, it's just not me. It's just not me. I don't think I would have made it through it if I didn't take Andrea's class. I don't think I would have probably already been out of it. I would have been legged from there. I would have been in 20 fights already.
It suggested the change takes 1 to 5 years or more. It could be a lifetime process. One of the greatest fears they have is being alone. And so I think that they don't really learn how to develop and nurture a relationship responsibly. They would jump into relationships very quickly because of the fear of being alone. What we try to teach them is that you have to learn how to love yourself first, and that being alone isn't always being lonely. And that being alone isn't always so bad.
I couldn't sit home for a Sunday afternoon and watch a football game by myself if my life depended on it. When I could go up the street and watch it in a bar and shoot pool, there's just no way I couldn't do it.
I was very afraid of being alone. My father died when I was young. He was an alcoholic, and I was alone all my life since he died. You know, matter of fact, I think I was alone before then. You know, I love my dad. I remember being with him, but I don't remember a childhood, and I didn't see anybody coming to me and wanting to hang with me. It's always like I was searching out for someone else. In my marriage, I always looked for Desiree to want me, you know, more than I wanted her. Yeah, I always felt all alone, yeah, yeah. Because I never knew me. Never knew me.
Abuse is abuse, whether it's physical, mental, emotional, or whatever. Abuse is abuse.
I didn't even realize I wasn't abusive. I didn't know that I was being abusive. I thought it was okay.
I don't have the woman that I want to be with, and it's no one's fault but my own. I see that. I really do.
I realize now that I've done a lot of damage.
Andrea is an angel in disguise. I mean that seriously. Andrea is a straightforward woman with a lot of courage and a lot of understanding about this domestic violence issue. She's a woman that's willing to reach out to me even when I don't want the help and give it to me anyway.
Oh, Andrea would be kind of hard to forget. That class would be kind of hard to forget.
I don't like what I've done to people. I don't like I love that girl, that woman. I love her. You know, I love Diane. I love my mother. I love my children. I love a lot of people. And violence ain't the answer to love. Love isn't violence.
Being in jail has been the best 2 years of my whole life. You know, I've never, ever, ever been as in touch and as thoroughly overwhelmed with who I am today in all aspects of my life, everything. I've completely changed everything that I was when I came to this jail. I firmly believe that with anybody, it could get to the point that someone could get killed, and that's scary in itself. Don't hide. Don't hide from feelings. You know, God, there's so much work. You know, there's so much work just coming to the terms that you need help. You know, that you need help. I was fortunate because I really wanted to do something. You know, I really did, and I was just get some help. Get some help.
Here are the warning signs that you and your partner need to know. First, there is the emotional abuse: verbal, yelling, swearing, calling names, harassing, being jealous, isolating, keeping away from other people, being controlling, blaming others, constantly calling on the cell phone, and keeping track of whereabouts. Then there is the economic aspect: refusing to share money, taking money, interfering with work. Lastly, there is the violence: being intimidating, threatening to hurt or kill, breaking and destroying items, punching walls, being physical, like pushing, grabbing, slapping, choking, punching, injuring pets, forcing or coercing sex, abusing drugs or alcohol, and using weapons. If you believe you do any of these things, please get help. By listening to these inmates' stories, you know that you don't want to hurt the ones you love, nor end up in jail, or worse, being killed yourself. There are anger management classes and domestic abuse help groups. You can call Emerge. It's the nation's first Batterers program at 617-547-9879. The website is www.emergedv.com. Emerge is in Cambridge, Massachusetts, but can help you find support in your area. If your partner is abusive, there are services to help you. Remember that you don't deserve to be hurt, and don't be ashamed that you are being abused. It's not your fault. First, get a safety plan. Tell your family and friends what is happening. That's the most difficult. Determine where you would stay if you left. If you do have an argument, Have it in a room where you could leave quickly. Stay out of the kitchen or bathroom where there may be weapons. Talk to your children about a safety plan. Practice how to get out of your home safely. Follow your instincts in dealing with your partner. Keep yourself and your children safe. Become more financially independent if that is possible with your own savings account and credit card. Tell a neighbor about the violence and ask to call the police if necessary. Keep a shelter or hotline phone number, some change, or a calling card for emergencies, and get a cell phone. Have a bag packed and keep it at a relative's or neighbor's home if you need to leave quickly. Put these items in that bag: money, a credit card, savings account information, an extra set of keys, copies of important documents, extra medicines, and clothes. Don't tell your partner that you are leaving nor where you are going. Remember, the most dangerous time is when the relationship is breaking up. Be aware that your abuser can check the websites you use, but here are some resources both on the web and the telephone. The National Domestic Violence Hotline is 800-799-7233. That's 800-799-SAFE. For hearing impaired, it is TTY 800-787-3224. And the website is www.ndvn.org. Remember that families are important, relationships are important, and you and your partner are also important. Violence doesn't have to belong in your lives. It really does get better on the other side.
Come and listen to somebody, you know. Come and listen to somebody who has been abusive, that's trying to do something about it, you know. And maybe through one of the many stories that we do here, something will catch you right in the heart and spark you, you know, to open your mouth and say, oh my God, that's me. You know, and I think that's a starting point, you know, saying, oh my God, that's me, you know. And then go through what you got to go through, because it gets better on the other side. You know, you got to know that it gets better. It did for me.
It was a great group. I thought that was a really a lot of powerful moments. There was a tremendous amount of sharing, and I was so surprised with the cameras running of the emotion that went on. So there was a lot of trust in that group.